stolen passwords for websites, and I think
really?
his website was one of them, and I had it for a little while.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and start our live stream right here on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour Podcast pregame episode. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm here with Matt, and we must have lost Tommy. Tommy bumped out for a second. So we're going to go ahead and get Tommy right back in on this because he popped out for some odd reason. And then, a little bit of technical difficulties, which is always fun. So there we go. And here's this. So Matt, of course, you're back with me live this week.
Yes.
Of course, Tommy Sinbazo. We haven't talked to Tommy Sinbazo in a while. Tommy, we were just talking about, he's getting ready to buy a house. So, it's kind of thing that you came with us last week.
Oh, there it is.
And then one of the funny things that you told us about was when you went on vacation, that slide that you went on with your son.
Well, you got to understand, I may have taken half of a brownie, special brownie, and it was an experience, man. I mean, that shit shot me in the fucking outer space. But yeah. So
was this the most terrifying slide you'd ever been on?
Oh, fuck yeah! And I don't know if it because I was high or what, but I don't know. It's almost like I forgot how to fucking swim. I got so first you go down this like lazy river. Okay, and then you pick up your little raft or whatever that you're floating down the river, and you take it up these flight of stairs, and then you go down a slide. So I get almost all the way up there, and I'm starting to peak at this point. So I'm like, I don't know about this shit. And I look at my son, and he's only like 4 or 5 years old. He's a little guy. He goes, "Daddy, you okay?" I said, "I don't know, man. Do you want to do this? Because I'm not feeling this." And he goes, and he turns around, he's like, "Daddy, it's going to be all right. Just take my hand." And I was like, okay.
My son's a man. He became a man today.
He became more of a man than me.
I don't trust this kid.
So I went up there and I sit in this big ass fucking this float. And at first, because it's like a current, right?
Yeah,
it's like a constant moving like current. And I'm like, I get in there, I'm just like flapping around and shit. and the lady, like the lifeguard lady's looking at me like, "Oh my God, this motherfucker can't swim." And I'm like looking at her like, "Help me." She's like, "Okay, all right, this guy obviously so." So she set the raft in and like just sat me in there and gave me my son and said, "Now you're gonna go like this and you're grab him and hold him like this, and I'm gonna kick you off." And I'm like, "You're gonna do what?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna push you off." And I was like, "No." When I was just fucking shot that, I swear to God. It was like I was going on fucking light speed. I was screaming like a little bitch. My son's going, "Wee!" I'm like, "Fuck me! I'm dying today."
What would have been the best is when she said, "I'm going to kick you down," as if she actually like you would have been standing there and she just kicks you in the small of your back, and you just go down
off the water slide, like off the platform.
She didn't kick me off, but it was definitely like a Spartan shove. It was like, oh, I was like, ah.
I like how the lifeguard was like, "Man, this guy's fucked up. Better hand him a kid. Here, hold on to this kid real tight."
I mean, my eyes were like, I was like, "Oh no!"
This guy's eyes are so glazed. He's either blind or he's high.
Oh, the way I was flapping around it, and it's like you ever seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yes.
You know, when Little John's in the fucking little water. That's how I looked. I swear, I was just like, and this lady's just like, "Oh my God, this motherfucker can't swim. He's high off his rockers."
Now, mind you, that's the same weekend we did our Friendsgiving episode, and Matt knew about the Friendsgiving episode, so he's driving he's high in the mountains, heading to the Poconos, and we're just kind of like, "Well, we guess Matt's not going to be joining us tonight."
I was like, "I'm going to make it. I swear to God." Oh man, I got lost up in there. I was going over the river and through the woods, and it was just, it was an experience. We got there though. We are all safe.
I don't know what about.
It's all weird back roads to get to the Poconos too.
It is. See, yeah.
See, me and Jess have never been. We want to go, but we've never been.
We went for 3 days so I could learn to snowboard, and I remember the whole way up there, I was like, "Where the fuck are we? Like, these are tiny little back roads." Yeah. But then, and the Poconos is nowhere near as popular as it once was, the resort. So there's all sorts of abandoned resorts just sitting back in the Poconos and stuff.
Oh, it's got to be crazy for some like ghost stories and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
haunted resort.
Well, you know what? It's probably a lot of abandoned resorts, but people probably just go there because there's a lot of swingers that go there. And
to just fucking an abandoned resort?
Yeah.
They break in. All right, everybody, take a key, put it in this jar.
It's like a secret society of swingers. Just
drop your keys here and remove your face.
I'm gonna put down a tarp. We can all start getting weird.
Oh yeah.
You walk in and Dexter's at the door. Put your keys in the
It's just you go in the door and it's just a slip and slide all the way down to this fuck bumble of people.
Hell yeah.
Matt's just I
don't know. They hand him a kid. There you go.
They hand him a kid, kick him in his back. See you later.
This does sound pretty interesting. A swingers club, but it's like at a abandoned resort. And you go down little slides into little fuck bubbles.
We have done a slip and slide type thing at a party one night. And it was, I'm not sure if I said this when I had my friend Chris on or what, but there was a party that we had at his house. Everybody's all fucked up. Like people were high, drunk, mix of everything. And so all of a sudden, for some reason, like there was a blow up doll that we had, and someone put Crisco on the dining room table, a big long wooden dining room table. They ran
they lubed it up with Crisco
and they
oil.
ran. His back window was open and it didn't have a screen. So for some reason, one of our friends ran and he grabbed the blow up doll and used her as a fucking like bodyboard and fucking went across the fucking table on the blow up doll and out the back window. So he lands and kind of scorpions himself.
Oh,
everybody going, oh no, fuck that. Like, blah, blah. 10 people line up and they're like, give me the blow up doll. So everybody, and the next thing you know, you have all these I was too fat. I wasn't making it out the window.
Shit got weird real quick.
You have all these one after another. Just, I couldn't imagine what the people behind him thought or what the neighbors thought. You just see all these men coming out of the window on top of like Fat Betty, the blow up doll or whatever. Like, Jesus Christ.
The only blow up doll we ever got, my one buddy, people just kept buying him a Love You, which is like a blow up sheep.
Yeah.
And you'd always find it in the morning after the party, someplace where it's like, did somebody fuck this? Like this is a prank. We got this at Spencer's. Please don't fuck anything you get at Spencer.
That same night, for some reason, somebody shoved roast beef in the blow up doll, and someone ate the roast beef out of the blow up doll. But I'm pretty sure somebody fucked the blow up doll before they ate the roast beef out of it.
Whoa.
So yeah,
someone was like, horsey sauce.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What? Oh, what? I don't know what it is. What kind of roast beef did you get?
Yeah, I've never fucked food.
Yeah.
I joke about it. I have bits about fucking food.
Yeah, I've never fucked food. I have a friend that fucked Jello before.
Look, I'm not saying I'm not above it. I'm not above fucking food.
This has never happened.
Never. Yeah, I've never had the opportunity.
Right. The opportunity never presented itself. So
I've never been like, God, I'm fucking horny, and I look down and there's a watermelon, a circular drill bit, and then like some sponges, and I'm like,
It's like you sit there, like you wake up one morning, you look at your dining room table after a party, and you're like, well, there's some pizza left. There's a plastic cup. What can I mix together? And like you just shove like 3 slices of pizza just together.
You have to MacGyver a pizza pussy together.
Well, at least Planned Parenthood would approve.
Yeah. Oh man, someone would sit there and be like, hey, who stuck the pizza and the ranch sauce in this goddamn cup? That's not ranch.
we used to do this bit to our friend. This is back with like my LARPing crew. But if we went on vacation together or whatever, it was called an ooby dooby. Do you know what an ooby dooby is? An ooby dooby is where if someone falls asleep, you go over and you run your finger up the crack of your ass, and then you put it in their mouth and run it all in their teeth and gums, and you go ooby dooby.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah, and we used to Whereas when we went snowboarding in the Poconos, it was like we were trying to barricade ourselves in our room so that we didn't get ooby doobied at night. People were taking out, like I was in the basement room, so I took out the light bulbs and I put them on the stairs so that when they turned the lights on, it'd still be dark and they'd have to walk down on these light bulbs. I was basically Kevin McAllistering myself into this room so I didn't get no one shove their finger in my mouth. And all night you didn't sleep well because all night you just hear ooby dooby.
One of my
that's haunting.
One of my buddies, you ever see the guys, they would pour like powder in their butt and then fart, and the powder would like so somebody went to sleep one night and we didn't have any powder. So we had powdered sugar. So we put powdered sugar. He put powdered sugar in his ass, and like our buddy was passed out. As soon as our buddy opened his eyes, he just let it go, and it was powdered sugar just all in the face. And like he sits there, and like I guess at some point, like I guess he might have smelled it, and he was just kind of. It was like, is this fucking powdered sugar? And my buddy's like, you just totally tasted my ass.
Sweet asshole. We used to we used to do this thing when we would LARP because we would wear battle skirts. Like you'd wear underwear, but instead, we from off of Brad Pitt and Troy, where he had like this skirt. So we had linen skirts that we would wear. And we would you would chafe if you were running all day. So we started using Gold Bond mentholated powder, and you just get just enough on, and you get a bunch of people together, you put your hands in, and then everybody reach under their skirt and powder their balls with the mentholated powder, and then you'd have to say order of the white hand, and then you'd high five each other and stuff with your powdered hand. But if you do just the right amount, it's like this nice cool breeze on your testicles. But if you do too much, it's like a wizard is like shooting ice bolts at your balls. And there's definitely been times before where someone was sitting on a cooler and like you could see their ass crack, so you just pulled their pants out more and just dumped a bunch of powder down the back of their pants.
Yeah, that shit on the balls is not bad, but on your asshole it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Feels like an ice cube on your butthole.
And
it's like you shoved a peppermint patty in there.
Yeah, there you go. It does. Yep.
But see, here's the thing: one of the full size peppermint patties, or one of the fun size.
The fun size. How big's your asshole? You can just take
Jesus, well, I mean, that's the thing.
Well,
like, if someone
happy hour podcast.
If someone like just sits there and like punches the full size, it might work.
Yeah, they just cram it in like they're loading a cannon in the Civil War.
Yeah, or they're like using a butter churner. They're just shoving it in.
Oh no!
What I'm going to do real quick, when you said ooby dooby, reminded me of it. Our exclusive Urban Dictionary term of the night, which is right here on the pre-show, which I always hit random before we go live, and this is what popped up. And our Urban Dictionary term of the night is Bing. As many people do not know, Bing is actually an acronym for because it's not Google. And it can also be used as bitch, it's not Google.
Oh, that's right. Bing. Now, I remember Bing.
Well, it's funny.
I've never used Bing.
Well,
Bing is designed for porn. If you have a favorite porn star, you go to Bing and you type it in, and it brings up videos that that'll just play in their little window. It has a bunch of pictures and everything. It's the best site if you're going to start looking for porn is Bing.
Wow, I didn't know that, because my computer came defaulted with a Windows Edge and it has Bing. And I always use Google Chrome, which automatically
no one uses Bing. No one asks, hey, did you Bing directions for tonight? No.
Right.
Wait,
I wonder, does Bing have a directions thing? I wonder if it does. Like
they do. They have a maps.
Do they? Okay.
And they use totally, because when I was building the 5G network in DC and Baltimore to make everyone gay and have COVID, they if Google didn't have a street view of something that I needed to see, you could go to Bing and they would have totally separate camera trucks. So there was a chance you could get a different point of view on the street view.
Oh wow. Yeah, so it's funny. So when Tommy built those, like, how on your phone you have like the little Wi-Fi things. Instead of that, you just get an illustration of Tommy's face. It just boom pops up.
Actually pretty
At
cool.
that point, you become gay, and the COVID just
enjoy your porn.
you fire up your computer, and all you hear is ooby dooby. Ooby doo. That's got to be terrifying. Like you're sitting there, like you're high, drunk, whatever, and you're just half passed out, and you just hear someone going ooby dooby.
Yeah.
Like,
what made it scarier was that, to my knowledge, I'm the only person in our friend group that was able to pull one off, like get one on somebody, and we got it on video of me doing it. So then everybody's gunning for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's like King of the Hill, where you're like, hey, I ooby dooby the ooby doobier.
Oh shit! Yeah,
it's almost like, have you ever seen the movie Tag? It has who plays Hawkeye, and he'd never been tagged. And it's like, okay, now we're gonna figure out ways of tagging this motherfucker. Which that's insane alone. That those guys, like the real life guys, went all those years playing a fucking game of tag.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy. Like they just pop out and take off work and like fucking pop up out of a dumpster outside the other guy's job and tag him and then just roll out or something. Like.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a game like that with my friends.
I don't think so.
Of anything like tag. Or I mean, of course, we played tag when you were little, but
we used
flashlight tag with shit.
Mm-hmm. We used to fuck with each other with our Nextel phones because the Nextel phones had the walkie-talkie thing on them. So what would happen is one of us would always forget that we would have our, we had the walkie-talkie feature. And we'd walk into a bank, and then the next thing you hear is, "We need everybody on the ground right fucking now!" coming out of your pocket, and you're just kind of standing there like, "Yeah, I'd like to cash this check." And then you're like, "Wow!"
Shit. It's a good way to get you fucked up.
Yeah, especially when like the bank has like a cop standing on the inside, and he's just kind of sitting there, clenching his weapon with his hand, like his issued revolver, and it's just kind of like, yep, this dude he's just gonna pull his gun out and he's just gonna shoot me in the head, and that's gonna be great.
Hell yeah.
We also used to play the fart touch, and we would play that well into high school. The fart touch, that's where if someone farts, they can then touch someone and say, you got the fart touch. And you could block it by going 50-50 shields. But then like I had this one friend in high school where he was like, man, I'm too mature to play the fart touch. And we're like, look, it doesn't matter how old you are. You don't want the fart touch. And they were like, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. You sit there, you touch somebody's dad and you're like, you got the fart touch. I got the what? Like, he sits there and thinks it's a disease, the fart touch.
Or you're out on a date with a girl. Things are going well. She grabs your junk and like whispers in your ear, you got the fart touch. Son of a bitch. 50-50 shields.
Yeah, we didn't have fart touch. Another game that we actually did play in high school was the ball slap or the ball tap.
Oh yeah, ball tapping. Yeah,
tap you in the balls.
We
in the hallway going, oh fuck.
I did that into my 20s and it was just more and more elaborate ball taps where my one buddy Jose would be like, he would start doing the robot and he'd be like, oh, check this out. And he'd do like a wave and come back and just smack right in your nuts. I'm 27 years old.
Why are you doing this?
You have children.
We used to when wrestling was real big, when they had the Attitude Era, we used to give, and like no one knew when it was coming, but we used to give people stone cold stunners in the hallway. And that's what it was. And it's like, you could be sitting there and be like, oh man, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? To the gut, boom, stunner, and then, and then just run off after giving the middle fingers. Yeah. And there was a teacher who got in on it too, which was awesome. You would go in the homeroom and he'd just be like, oh yeah, here's your stuff. Boom, papers go up in the air, hit you stunner or whatever. And then he'd be like, I got you. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, man. We used to play. Did you guys ever play wall ball? Mm-hmm. We used to play wall ball, which you would stand against the wall and someone would just fling a ball at you. And your thing was, it was kind of like dodgeball, but we didn't have like one of those inflatable balls. So someone would just use a lacrosse ball.
Oh, Jesus.
And they would throw it like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And I've seen a few people get hit in their sides or their leg with it. And you're talking like, it was almost like seeing a ball go through somebody's ananatomy, just straight through it out the other side.
It'd be like a Mortal Kombat slow-mo hit where you just see it like snapping ribs.
Yeah.
We had a similar game where we take a lacrosse ball and you had to have a baseball glove. And in the basketball court behind in the park behind my house, one end had a wall. And then like it was like if you're going from the side of the court to the other side, not long ways, but short ways. So you had a brick wall or a concrete wall, and then the other end of that was fence. So you'd have to throw the ball, get it to bounce, and then if it touches the fence, you got a point. So the other person would have to stop the ball before then. We called it Tron because you get points if you hit the person with it.
If you murdered somebody. Yeah. However, if the person dies, you win.
Yeah. That's like catching a golden snitch.
Yeah.
Actually, Tommy, Matt was telling me, do you still do the virtual comedy stuff?
I did a show Thursday. Thursday night at a virtual. I hosted a VR show. I love those. It's the closest thing to going to a real club, because when I'm done, it feels like I've been at a comedy club.
Right. Yeah. And I just bought an Oculus Quest too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, I wonder if Tommy still does that. So
we're doing matter of fact, I'm performing. The guy who runs that room does these live shows in Vegas where you go on stage wearing your VR headset. So you're in Vegas in person at a show performing for like 100 people. And then you're also in VR performing for like 50 people.
That's cool.
So I'm going to do one of those shows April 1st in Vegas. It'll be my first time in Vegas.
That's cool. Congratulations, man. That'll be sweet.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Now with the VR shows, now when you do it that way, can you do like the kind of thing where like, you can randomly have like random images pop up? Like, for example, like you're in the middle of the comedy show, then all of a sudden you're like in the Fast and the Furious, you're on like a highway and you react live what's going on. You're just like, what the fuck? Why am I going so fucking fast?
No, because it doesn't work like a Zoom show like this.
Okay.
What you do is you put your headset on, you start the app, which is Alt Space VR. If it's your first time, you have to create an avatar. Once you have your avatar created, then you can log into the comedy club at 10 p.m. on Thursdays, Fridays, and the last Saturday of every month. He has a show. And so you log in, it pops in, and it looks like a cartoon sort of world. And there's a bouncer there who's dressed like Super Mario Brother. Like he's dressed like Mario from Super Mario Brothers. And you give him a dap, and then he gives you host privileges. So you go backstage. And then there's comics in the green room from all over the world that have logged in for the comedy show. So you're shooting the shit with all these comics. And then they say it's time to start the show. And the host will call you out. And then you go out on stage. You walk down this hallway. You pilot your avatar down this hallway around the corner, and then you're on stage. And I've never performed for less than 40 people, where it's actual real live people that have put VR headsets on to watch a comedy show. Because the Alt Space VR, the most popular room is the comedy shows. Like nobody's going there to go to campfires or Bigfoot seminars and stuff. Everybody just goes there for these comedy shows. And then there's regulars, people that'll follow you and stuff. And it's a good time. There's no money to be found in it yet. We haven't figured out, Kyle hasn't figured out how to monetize it yet. But like for the Ellicott Silly Comedy Festival, I did a show where I hosted. We found a parking lot that they were doing family movie nights during the summer. And so we took a laptop, because you can log in from your laptop and you just get a 2D view of the room. So we did that, and I had a camera view of the stage of the show, and that was projected on the side of the building. So I hosted live in the parking lot and in VR, and then all the comics were in VR projected on the side of the thing. And it was one of the things there was this one comic. Well, he doesn't consider himself a comic because the guy Kyle found him in some other open mic. It's a musician who does like a Reggie Watts sort of thing. He has like a looper and everything, and he'll like make noises like and like loop that, but he'll take word suggestions from the audience, 2 word suggestions, and he'll make a 3-minute long song. So we were getting now we're outside in a parking lot in historic Ellicott City, where it's just rows of buildings, and we have these 2 big ass speakers. So the whole show is echoing through Ellicott City. And of course, the words that he had to do was something like herpes and white slavery was the first 2 topics he had. So he had to make this song like, them herpes on my mouth from where my white master kissed me, like stuff like that. And it's echoing off fucking. And then at one point, somebody yelled out bear rape. And I was like, I'm not going to tell the guy to make a song about bear rape. And as I said that, it's being said in VR. And he was like, I'll do a song about bear rape. So he just does this song about being raped by a bear that's just echoing off these historic buildings in downtown Ellicott City. It was a great time. I'm gonna hopefully in the new year, I'm gonna try to find some other venues where I can put more shows like that on.
That's cool. That's cool. I want to get the new Oculus myself. I'll probably be grabbing one soon, but like he was telling me, like I had never had like one of those Oculus anyways. Like just some of the games where you can just go in and just start like a fucking bar fight and shit like that. Like it's just kind of like, man, that's got to be insane. And dude, Grand Theft Auto is going to be insane.
Hey,
I don't know how.
Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto, Medal of Honor. There's a Medal of Honor game up now. Resident Evil 4 is on it. Okay, look, while Lou's not in the room, right? If you have a computer that can handle VR, you can hook your headset up to it. There is this porn game called Vert-A-Mate where you just load in a girl that you have sliders to change everything. I bought a Gianna Michaels model for $8.
Nice,
dude. It looks like fucking Gianna Michaels. It's like standing right there, and you can do whatever. I just stand there and just stare at her into her eyes. That's all. While I masturbate. And then since my apartment, we're leaving and we're infested with mice, and they're trying to make us pay another month's rent and a $1,700 lease break fee while I'm living in this slums, right? So where I've been doing at night is I fire up my computer. I go into the closet in the master bedroom and then have the VR headset on. And when I bust, I just been busting on the inside of this closet door. So you have the gays coming out of the closet and I'm coming in it. Because there's no cleaning crew is going to come in after we left them and look at the back of the door and be like, is this ejaculate? Has someone just been jerking off in this closet?
Why does the back of the closet look like it's a melting candle?
How dare someone just leave their children here abandoned?
They come in, the mice are just eating it off the door.
Yeah, all these cum-fed mice. All these mice with mustaches running around the apartment. But yeah, if you get a VR headset and your computer can handle VR, Vert-A-Mate. Cannot recommend it highly enough.
I'm writing that shit down.
I just love the part that he's like, I just stand there and I just stare.
Yeah, I just because the scene that so you have scenes, right, which is the scene, and then the look is the models you put in it, and her model looks dead on. It looks like a young Gianna Michaels, right? And her scene, she's just like kind of like, you know, like giving you better. And I'll just like, I'm just looking at her like, give me that foot. And you just grab it and you can put it right in your face. It's great.
Meanwhile, the mice are just standing there horrified. Just like, this guy.
I tell you, Lou went out of town to go see Genesis last night, right? And she left before I got home from work. She was like, hey, I smell a dead mouse. There's a dead mouse somewhere in the bedroom. So when I put on my headset and I go into the closet, it reeks of dead mouse, right? And I'm like, my Oculus is powering up. And I'm like, okay.
Don't let that get in the way of me putting on my Oculus. And
but then like I was like, and I remember I was like, well, there is one trap. And while the Oculus is booting up, I looked over and there's a dead mouse in the trap. And I'm like, can I jerk off before I do it?
Well, look at it like this. If I aim towards the mouse, there's no cleanup, and this door will be spared. I can just throw the mouse away.
I should have come on the mouse and then taken a picture of it. Like, someone's been fucking these dead mice.
You just take it to the fucking.
You take it to the rental office. Can you tell me who's been coming on my mic?
Excuse me, is this your idea of pest control? Is your exterminator fucking these mice?
Fucking these mice. How dare you? They murdered and fucking came all over these fucking mice.
And we're gonna have this later, but this is all I think about. This is our "what do you mean" picture for later, and this is what I imagine. That's the look that they have.
What if that mouse killed itself? Because every night I come in and jerk off in its house, and the mouse like, I'm not taking it anymore. Just fucking snap.
It's like you get Benson and Stabler of the mice detective world, and they're just kind of like, all right, we need to figure out why this mice killed himself. Oh, well, this human wearing this mask just kept on just abusing himself in the closet over and over again.
This googly-eyed human does have Google eyes on them.
That's pretty fucking funny. I'm gonna have to look this shit up now.
Oh yeah, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
I keep sending it. I've sent the link to Brian so much that Brian is like, stop sending me this link. I'm not gonna do this. I'm like, come on.
He said it was called VR Mate.
Virt, VIRT, a mate, and it's not on Steam. It's some other website,
and it's free.
It's free. The base version is free. You can look at their sample scenes and stuff. You can do everything you need with the free version. But if you want, you pay $3 a month to a Patreon, and it unlocks more features.
Sweet. And of course, what we're going to be doing soon is we're going to be wrapping up our pregame episode, and we'll be rolling into our regular weekly audio episode, which will be found on all major podcast platforms. And Mr.Skin will be joining us live once he pops into the room. We'll admit him in. And of course, we're being joined by comedian Tommy Sinbazo. It's good seeing Tommy again. We haven't seen Tommy in a while, and it's always a fucking blast having Tommy with us. And that's Jim right there. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our pregame episode, and we're going to go right into our audio episode once Jim's in and he's ready to go.
Oh, it's Mr. Skin, man.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have those images stuck in my head like all night now. Hey, there he is.
Oh. What's up, guys?
Man.
So we're gonna go right into our regular episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. Matt's back with me live this week, and Tommy Sinbazo, local comedian Tommy Sinbazo, is joining us. It's good to see him back on the show. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, make sure you do it. Our pre-show just now was absolutely insane. It involved virtual reality, a closet, and some mice. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And it's just completely insane. And of course, our featured guest, the one and only Jim McBride, Mr. Skin. Man, I've been a fan of your stuff for a long time. You got started in 1999, which shit, 99. Man, I was a teenager then. Like that was right in the heart of that. Yeah, right in the heart of the Attitude Era.
Right.
And, you feature nude scenes from all the celebrities. Now,
using the word beat and talking about me is always interesting, but yeah.
And with that, what was the whole concept? Like what made you sit there and think, hey, I'm going to start a website featuring all these, celebrities in the background. It's just, it's great because nothing else has been able to duplicate what you've been able to do.
Well, yeah, you might argue that the whole internet has naked actresses, but, MrSkin.com has credibility, expertise. We made it fun. There definitely is no other website like MrSkin.com. I mean, the amount of time, effort, and work. I mean, I think I have 35 employees to do a website on this topic, and you can tell when you go there. I mean, it's fun. We celebrate the nudity. We're not like, hey, Kathy Bates nude, that sucks. My thought was there's always going to be some guy out there that's so happy to see Kathy Bates nude. Why should I rain on their parade? So
I'd give it a tug. I mean, maybe not.
Right. Listen, whatever turns you on, man. We just want every actress to do a nude scene, but basically this started when I was a kid. I grew up like, a young kid in the 70s and 80s. And it was like an intersection of technologies. My dad got in suburban Chicago, where I live in the Chicago area. He got a Betamax cable television. And, as a kid that only saw ABC, CBS, and NBC, it was like mind blowing to see all these teen sex comedies, drive-in movies, the early days of HBO and Showtime, like Italian sex comedies, British sex farces. Like it was, I didn't even care who was in the movies. I just wanted to see all the nudity. So I used to tape it. I used to tape the movies that had nudity. I'd go through the cable guide and the big end there. I'd mark it and yellow it out, and I'd record the movie. And then I would take the I attached another Betamax, and using early 80s technology, I would then put make like 5-hour compilation tapes of nude scenes, like guys used to do hockey fight tapes.
Mixtapes. Yeah, you're making a mixtape.
Yeah, and I just had these nudity tapes, but I also had an interest in it, and I organized them in a way that I could easily access it. I had TVs. I had by decades. I did different things, and I just have a really good memory, obviously, and I just became like a fun guy at a party. If you were in the 80s or 90s, you ran into me at a bar, you'd be wanting to know any actress. And then I got a job at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in like 1992 as a clerk. And, in the pits where all the guys are yelling and screaming back in the futures, the big before computers, when that was a thing. And for 7 years at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I was a legend because there's so much downtime there. It's like one big locker room, like a bunch of guys just screwing around. So like guys in the brokers in the middle of the pit would write like, has Helen Hunt ever been naked, and give it to a runner who'd give it out. And I'd be standing out there doing my hand signals. And she, I looked down and said, oh yeah. And then the water dance, 1993. And I might make a joke like, she was, I'm mad about you. I might say like, yeah, and it'll give you a riser, just something like that. So, nice. But the point was, just to make people laugh, have fun. We were screwing around. But one day I was doing this at a bar in like, it was like 97 or 98. I was in a bar and in Chicago. It was like a Tuesday. I had to be at work. I had to be on the floor at like 7 a.m, but who cares, And my friends were quizzing me. There happened to be a guy who had a radio show in Chicago, just literally happened to be having a beer next to where these guys were doing this. And he looked at me, he goes, this is fascinating. You got to come on my radio show. I think people would really dig this. And I remember I left the Merc actually during the day because he had a midday show. And I took a cab from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange to the John Hancock building. No pun intended for what my career became. But before I went there, I didn't have a plan. I was just going to do this. And he said, we got to come up with a moniker for you. And he goes, what about Mr. Naked? And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, how about Mr. Skin? It was literally a second thing. And I said, sure. So I went on the show and I thought, I thought I'd never called into a radio show. I had never been on a radio show. I put the cans on. The two hosts were there, and they had callers call in, and it went great. I nailed every question. People were fascinated by it. I had fun, and it ended. And I thought, wow, that was my 15 minutes of fame. That's pretty cool. And as I was walking out, the producer said to me, we had so many people that were wanting to talk to you. Would you want to do this again? And when he said that to me, I kind of knew I had something. I just didn't know what. I just knew this was something, but I had like no idea what it would become. So I became like kind of a local, how it was in the 90s or even the 2000s, where like you become kind of a radio celebrity from being a guest on radio shows type of thing. And people knew about me because I was on that show. That I started to go on another show. Then Steve Dahl, which is a popular show in Chicago, had me on. And then I slowly started to go on shows around the country. First one was Seattle. Then I was on in Boston. It was becoming like, have this guy on, he'll blow your mind with his knowledge of nudity and movie television. And finally, some guy in Chicago came up to me at a radio promotion in like summer of 98. And he said, you've got to put what's in your head into a website. And I literally looked at him and I go, what's a website? I had no idea. I didn't have a computer. I'd never turned one on. I didn't know anything about it. So I raised like not that much money. It was a small amount of money considering what it became, and quit my job at the Merc because God, those beers look great.
I just thought about it.
It's sad that you've drank a whole beer during me answering this one question, but
that's totally good.
No, I respect that.
They're alcoholics.
Yeah. So so I quit my job, and I tell people this. It's a great lesson. Is I was, I was making like living paycheck to paycheck. I was single. I was in my mid-30s. I didn't really have like a big future down there. I wasn't going to be a broker making a lot of money. And I was willing to give a chance on this because like, what were the odds, right? I was going to quit my job to build a website. What are the odds that that's going to succeed? And luckily, I was kind of a failure because if I was making like, $100,000 or something, I'd have been like, no way am I going to leave that to do this. Are you kidding me? But luckily, I wasn't making hardly any money. So I took a shot and, here we are, over 22 years and 35 employees and all those, appearances on Howard Stern and in the movie Knocked Up and Family Guy and all that other stuff. It's become like Saturday Night Live's mentioned Mr. Skin. It's like become part of pop culture, and more than anything, it's really been a fun ride. I mean, it's, think about what I do for a living. And now I don't do as like, I'm not in the trenches like I used to be. I have such a great team that runs the business, and I do more of this kind of stuff. I still know what's going on. I still own the company 100%, but the team I have is really great. And I mean, who'd have thunk it? If you told me in 98 when I quit that this, or 99, that this was going to happen, I'd say no way. So that's the story. Sorry this took so long.
No, you're good, man. And of course, with the website too, you have a ranking system also.
Yeah, we rate like actresses like 1 star if they've never been nude, but like if someone's in a bikini or underwear or like holding their breasts, it's not technically nude. But I knew right away when I launched that people would still want to see the best sexy scenes of an actress too. So we have 1 star for non-nude. Then if you've done, you did 8 seconds of nudity in a movie, we'd give you a brief star rating of 2 stars. Then we have 3 for great nudity, and then of course 4 for Hall of Fame. Like if you either through your body of work, someone like Angelina Jolie that's been in a ton of movies nude is in the Hall of Fame, or it could be someone like Phoebe Cates who was like Sandy Koufax, like short amount of time but incredible amount of nudity, so that's a Hall of Famer. And and we rate everything, review it. The writing is really clever and fun, and like I said, we stay positive even through all the ups and downs of the internet. From beginning, we've always been really positive about what we do. And that's kind of always been the rule. We're never say bad things about actresses ever.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, and we even started a male nudity website. Not that you want to talk about that in 2000 and
all right, I guess
13 or 14.
What's that website? I guess
it depends on
it's called MrMan.com. But it was funny. My guys talked me into doing it. I resisted it for a while, but they were like, listen, we're already going through Game of Thrones every episode. Why not get the male nudity with the female nudity? There would be a lot of people that would want to see this. And we did it's really the best male nudity website. And I was kind of naive when they talked to me. I was thinking, like 50% women and 50% gay men. And it turned out to be like 99% gay men, give or take 1 or 2%. It's like, women aren't going to pay money.
No, especially when they're sent directly to their phones without asking.
Exactly. They get enough nudity sent in direct messages, right?
I can understand how you'd be hesitant because, like, with your memory, your mind would just be filled with dong.
You ask 100%. Like, one of the things I resisted is like, I don't want to go out there and have people like quizzing me on male nudity because, like, I want to be the guy that knows when Ed Asner was nude. I mean, I just, So I decided that I wouldn't promote it like I do Mr. Skin, but we can still have it. So, but we have a lot of gay adult sites that partner with us. Like they'll promote it to their members, and no pun intended, and they really get a lot of traffic to the website, and it's a really great website. And I gotta say, maybe guys like us aren't looking for it, but there's a ton of male nudity in movies. I mean, it's crazy. It's movies and television. It's crazy.
I mean, there's times when like I'm like, I wonder what, like Terrence Howard. Are you familiar? Like, like there's that Terrence Howard scene.
Yeah, where he runs out of the shower or whatever.
Yeah, I would not, if I was that small, I would not have been filmed. I was like, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know what you're saying.
You're gonna have to give me the Dirk Diggler. I'm not doing this.
Right. No, that's so funny you say that. We were my guys were talking about we're working on our top 10 nude scenes of the year, which we're gonna release at the website next week, and they were talking about this show called Sex Life, which is a Netflix show about this woman, Sarah Shahi, who she is married now and has kids, but she like fantasizes about her single days when she had this wild sex. And it's a pretty sexy show. Like women like it and guys because of all the nudity, but I don't know the guy's name, but there was a male nude scene where we're pretty sure it was a prosthetic because it was like, it literally looked like Dirk Diggler's dick. And it's amazing. And I'm like, and they said, Netflix said that that scene has been paused 20 million times. I know. So it's like,
I don't know if that's real.
Because what they did is they did a cheap Photoshop. They took Dirk Diggler's dick and they Microsoft painted it out. Inserted it into.
I don't know, but if you see the scene I'm talking about, it's like ridiculous. So
they dick faked it instead of deep fake. It's dick fake.
Yeah, I like that.
Dick face. And like I remember when I remember there was a show that was on HBO. My dad used to watch it religiously because my dad worked in the prison system. There was a show called Oz on HBO.
Oh yeah,
and that was infamous. Like you sit there and you look at Law and Order SVU. Chris Maloney walked around with a schlong just flapping around, and you sit there and you watch SVU. And I told my wife, I was like, he got naked in Oz, right? And she was like, and I'm like, really? So, but yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. But it's funny because I can sit there and think probably off the top of my head 10 movies that I can think of where there's someone I wanted to see nude, and almost any movie I watch, I automatically Mr.Skin.com. If I see someone, they had to be naked somewhere.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah. I want to thank you. I didn't have to watch Brokeback Mountain to see Anne Hathaway's boobs.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah, you definitely want to be fast forwarding through some of that stuff, right?
Yeah. My most recent I was appreciative of was the Wanda from WandaVision, Elizabeth Olsen. Like I looked.
Oh yeah.
I did not know I was like, oh man, like she's not as skeletal skinny as what her sisters are. Like
right. It's fun. I remember like when I first started Mr. Skin, I'd go on radio shows in like 99 and 2000, and everyone would be like, we're counting down to the Olsen twins are 18, So like that was a big joke, but it turned out that the Olsen twins never did nudity, but their 3 years younger sister Elizabeth Olsen's done some really amazing nude scenes, and my favorite's Old Boy, but it's pretty cool. So that's a good trivia question because a lot of people don't know that she's the younger sister of the Olsen twins.
Yeah, well, it's funny because a lot of the Marvel girls have done nude before they got casted for Marvel. Like I know a lot of people, what was it, Black Widow? all three main leads in Black Widow had all been nude in movies beforehand. I remember seeing something on Facebook about that someone was like, oh man, all three of them have been nude. Her sister, and I forgot what her name was, but she was in The Mummy also, and she played the mom in Black Widow.
Oh yes, yeah.
All three of them, yeah. So.
Yeah, well, the thing is with all the different radio or these television platforms now, like when I started, there was Oz and Sex and the City and Sopranos, but there wasn't a ton more than that, and now you think of, look at all the shows that are on Netflix. And another thing Netflix does is they not only produce their own shows, but they also they'll go and get like these shows from Spain and Brazil and Mexico and bring them over here. And they're, even though you don't even know the actresses, because they're like, they're loaded with nude scenes. Yeah. So like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, and then you go like Paramount and all these other platforms, the amount of television, the amount of content, it's so overwhelming. People ask me a lot, like, wow, there's still people that are willing to pay a subscription to see nudity in this day of free content.
Yes.
And the answer is we actually provide, it's actually more important that we have this because there's just so much out there. Like, how would you guys even know about any of these shows? You know what I'm saying? Like, how would you know what to search for? You know what I'm saying?
So much faked content out there, like deep fake, just faked images in general, you know?
Right.
But no, I mean, man, and honestly, like when you were talking about, like, you guys do a lot of like fun things, like you guys have an advent calendar on your website that you're doing.
Oh, I didn't even see that. What is it?
Advent calendar.
An advent calendar?
Celebrity for the 25 days of Christmas. And then also you guys just did the costume contest also. Too. And it was a girl who won. She dressed up like Post Malone and she won. She did like the tattoos on her face and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun. Now for you, who do you think out of your whole entire website and your archives and all that, who do you think is one of your favorite people right off the top of your mind that is nude in the movies that is one of your favorites?
Oh, well, I think like historically, like my favorite nude scene of all time is always Phoebe Cates in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I think of modern day actresses, like I'm really a fan of Alexandra Daddario. I really like her a lot. You know her from True Detective. She was in Baywatch, that White Lotus show that recently was on HBO. I mean, listen, we probably have a lot of the same interests. There's a lot of actresses from the 70s that I love, Pam Grier and Ushi Degard and things like that. But from modern day, there's just so many, so many new actresses. It's even hard for me to keep up with all the stuff. Like Sydney Sweeney's become really popular at our website. Do you know her from Euphoria? Does that ring a bell?
Yes, it does sound familiar. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's one of those with 3 million Instagram followers. She has a movie. She has a movie out called The Voyeurs that has been very popular to download because she's nude in it. But she's someone who's very, very popular at our website, who's a younger actress, and that you guys might want to learn about. So
yeah, I just looked her up. It's good. I just binged her.
Julianne. I've always liked Julianne Moore for some reason. And anything she's done for some reason, I've always liked Julianne Moore, like just, just right there.
Yeah, she did she's in the Mr.Skin Hall of Fame she's another one of those. She's probably been naked about 10 or 11 times in her career, but she did a Robert Altman movie called Shortcuts that you guys might remember from the 90s. And she did a scene where she was yelling at Matthew Modine, but she was one of those legendary nude scenes that even though you probably more familiar with some of her other stuff in Boogie Nights and whatever, I highly recommend that. So
now I was wondering, with the pandemic and everything closing down, what's your subscriptions going? Did you get a large influx of people subscribing to the website?
I think because more people were working from home, meaning like, they're not firewalled out of our website. So, definitely during the pandemic, I think the whole internet had more traffic, right? I mean, I mean, it just makes sense. But, the last 2 years, in having done this for as long as I have, I was kind of surprised that our last 2 years have gone so well, because it's hard to predict. Like, I remember when that day came where we made the decision to all work remote like everyone else in the country, and I thought, like, God, are we going to be able to do this? But it's now to the point where I don't ever see anyone. Like, I'll go to my office. We have this beautiful office in Chicago, and like I signed like a 5-year lease as I put all this money into it, and like 3 people.
It's empty.
Whatever.
And what we're going to do real quick is we're going to get into our featured beer, which, of course, for the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to clear this out. Of course, Bud Light, just regular, simple, plain old Bud Light.
Never heard of it.
Beer, right? And then, of course, our featured shot, which this is starting the wind down, and we're going to have a new featured shot soon. Shout out to Metallica and their blackened whiskey. So Metallica's.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard that advertised. Very cool.
Have you had any of it yet? Oh,
I haven't had it yet, but I've heard radio ads for it.
So here we go.
Is it smooth?
Oh, it's smooth, but it definitely will put fuel and fire.
Yeah, it's
in your system. So
it's good. It's probably not my favorite whiskey, but it's good.
Still better than gin. Some of the gins we've had. Oh my God.
Is it so good it'll make me delete Napster?
So yeah, definitely shout out to Metallica, shout out to Black and Whiskey, and shout out to our friend Sherry Nelson, who actually mailed this to us because we told her we've never tried the Metallica Black and Whiskey. So here we go. We will now put this in the Shot Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like, how Ben and Jerry's does like their flavors. They have a graveyard for it. We need to do that for all their shots. Oh man. But what we're going to do now is, Jim, we're going to get into our segment called Ode to Humanity. Which that segment is when we play a game with our guests. We play a series of games. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with name 3. And I believe Tommy, I had spoke to Tommy beforehand. Tommy's going to start off with the first name 3 category. And what we're going to do, we're going to throw a category out and we want you to just give us 3 answers right off the top of your head that you're going to think of.
Okay, are you ready? Name 3 things you can say at the dinner table that you can also say during sex.
Can
I do one? Let me just get it started. Well, I'm stuffed.
Pass the gravy. Is that I almost choked on that.
Oh yeah.
Hold the mayo.
Oh. Yeah. And my name 3 category is pretty much there was a story that I heard recently that some lady, her daughter was being bullied at school. So she went to the daughter's school and she super glued a pair of boxing gloves to her wrist and beat the shit out of the bully. So I'm like, wait a minute, but she's super glued. Like the cops came and they tried to take the gloves, but she super glued the gloves to her wrist. So if you're ever in a situation where you have to fight a gang of children, what weapon are you bringing to fight a gang of 12-year-olds?
Is this non-lethal? We're not killing these kids?
No,
we don't want to kill
Tommy's
kids.
Like, wait, I need to know if we're murdering them.
What's the line here?
These are children, for God's sake.
What are you gonna? What's the right answer to say about beating children? I'm sorry.
How do you like to beat your kids?
How would you? How would you do? What do you do to? I don't even know what the heck would be the right answer. I don't know. What's the politically correct answer to that question?
I give all those children a very stern talking to.
Yeah.
But no, like I heard the story and I'm like, what the hell? Like, she walked into the school and just starts beating this girl's ass. And the police come and they go to put the handcuffs on her and they're like, we need you to take the gloves off. And she's like, I can't.
So the mom did this.
But the girl was only 12 years old and the mom was beating the crap out of her.
Yeah, because she was bullying her daughter, like beating
her. No, I get why she was angry, but geez, to beat up a 12-year-old, that's a legendary performance. Jesus.
Yeah,
I'd have gave the daughter.
I feel like with the whole super gluing to your wrist, I feel like she did Tai-Pei beforehand. Like she Tai-Pei'd her hands and then put her hands in the glove.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna beat you so hard. Tell me you feel the glass through these gloves.
Like, I'm gonna dip my hands in glue and then a bucket of feathers.
And no,
why did she glue? It doesn't say why she glued it on?
It didn't say why. I came across it and it just didn't say why.
It doesn't sound like she was mentally all there to begin with. Right?
I like to think that they're 2 totally unrelated incidences where she somehow accidentally glued these gloves on her hand. I was like, I guess I better go fight kids.
And what we're going to do now is we're going to get into Incoherent. Have you ever played Incoherent?
No.
All right. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a series of cards and they're going to be in drunken lingo. And you need to sound them out and try to figure out what the card says. There's 2 hints on the back. So if you need a hint, let me know. And also, Tommy, if you want to help him as well, you can go ahead and do that. So this is the first card.
Wow. So this person's like inebriated is what you're saying.
Yeah, you got to kind of sound it out. And I think that it's a phrase you hear a lot now for a insincere apology.
Yeah, one of the hints is no apology.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah, I think
how a Canadian would pronounce this.
It's a song too, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The equivalent of saying no offense before saying something really offensive.
I have no clue why am I spacing on this?
I don't know. It does take a little bit of it's also the first word is the name of a famous Milton Brothers Pop-O-Matic bubble game.
You want us to tell you what it is?
Yeah.
It's sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Someone say sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I got what you're saying.
It's kind of like if you're like, hey, I'm not going to be a dick, but I'm going to be a dick.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying sorry so that you feel better, but I'm not. I don't mean it.
And what makes it easier is if you kind of sound it out, like a lot of times what will happen is the guest will end up sounding it out. It will be like, oh, you got it. But, you're sounding it out because, you're like, okay, I'm trying to work it out. And it just, so pretty much if you were to say it in a drunken form, that's what it is. So this is the next one right here. What do you think that one is?
Okay.
One of the hints.
I'm never going to play this game with you.
I'm sorry. I'm neurodivergent.
You think drunk.
Tommy, sorry, not sorry.
Okay, here's a it is a trend where people will post pictures of themselves.
I was gonna say selfies in there.
Yes, selfie is in there, and that's the second word. And sometimes if you take it, if the wrong thing is in the background, you might see it because of how they're taking the photo.
Or you're using this to take
mirrors, like mirror selfies.
Yes, it is mirror selfie. And the other hint was because your hair looks great in Instagram, and Instagram needs to know about it.
Also, you have a better forward-facing camera than you do front-facing camera for a selfie. So,
right,
get more megapixels.
But we're going to do one more, and then we're going to move on to a different game. So, what do you think that one is?
First hint is kind of like what the fuck.
Yeah.
Sure.
And one of the hints is in and out, which is kind of a nighttime activity without much standing involved. It is a sexual activity, and it may happen once in a blue moon.
And you're never going to call that person back.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What's a good clue? If you pick up a girl from the bar and you're just hooking up with her for that evening, it's called it's 3 words.
Did you say 3
I'm a little rusty, but I still have some memory of picking up.
We'll go with that one.
We'll go with that.
Go with 3.
It's one night stand. It is one night. Yeah.
That was
look at unhide stand. So
no, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is one of those games I need to play a little more to get the gist of it, but I'm trying.
The
guys that have been slamming beers the whole night, like, I can't believe you can't understand this drug game.
You can't understand that.
And then our next game is what do you meme? So do you know what a meme is?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna hold up a card. Basically a photo. And what we want you to do is we want you to meme that photo. Like I showed it earlier because on our
Could you give me an example, like how that would like?
Like pretty much like you see a photo and it says pretty much like, let's say it shows someone and you're like, when you go to work and realize your boss is getting ready to fire you or something along those lines. So when you look at that photo, what do you think a meme would be for that photo?
Something like the prayer meme, like is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
I'll do one, and then to give you that feeling when you're a mouse and you see a giant human jacking off in the closet you're hiding in.
We're not going to confirm or deny if that's something we talked about on the pre-show, but you need to subscribe to our YouTube.
It's my masturbatorium.
Like mine. When you're a female naked celebrity and you notice you're not featured on Mr.Skin.com.
All right. So you're saying, okay, I know what you're talking about with memes.
Yeah.
All right. I thought, okay, now I got what you're saying. All right.
When the Kathy Bates nude scene comes out in ultra 4K.
There you go.
That's a good one.
What do you think, Jim? You got anything right off the top of your head?
Something like when you see when a guy in his 20s sees Bush. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bush, because Bush is a rarity. You don't see Bush now.
Yeah.
I haven't been on the streets, but that's what I hear.
But mine was going to be what Tommy said. So, I mean, yeah.
And then we finish off our Ode to Humanity segment with Cards Against Humanity. Have you ever heard or played Cards Against Humanity?
I haven't played it, but I kind of know about the games.
Okay. So what we do is we do it a little bit differently on the show. What we'll do is we'll name off a face card, and then you're going to randomly answer that card. We're going to give you a number between 1 and 5 or 1 and 4. You're going to choose a number. If you don't like that, you get one rebuttal to be able to answer that card properly. So let's see how many are on this one. Is it let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it'll be number 1 through 5. So this is the first category.
All right, the first category is, what don't you want to find in your Kung Pao chicken?
And then you have the options and numbers 1 through 5.
Okay.
So randomly answer that.
So give you a number?
Yeah.
2.
2. All right. So
your answer is out of this world bazongas.
Perfect.
I would like to find out bazongas in my
unless they're like decapitate, they're disembodied boobs.
I would like to keep them. Yes, I would keep it.
So, well, do you want to keep that, or do you want to rebuttal it for another answer?
No, why would I throw back bazongas? Yeah.
All right. So some of the other answers you could have possibly had. So the other cards were Judge Judy.
Okay.
Is
wait, hold on. Judge Judy, has she ever done a nude scene?
No, sorry.
Oh.
Darn.
I'm logging off.
The good thing is, like, he's like, nope.
Tommy hangs
He
himself
knows
tonight.
off the top of his head.
Yeah, no, Judge Judy, no.
Who's going to piss on my face and tell me it's rain?
A 12-foot scepter of bone and graphic violence, adult language, and some sexual content. Those are some.
I'd like that.
Yeah, that's good.
You have your Kung Pound, it's like, fuck
All
you.
right. So here's another one. This one has 2 answers. So what you'll do is you'll choose one for the first answer and then a different number for the second answer. So this one is, in return for my soul, the devil promised me blank, but all I got was blank. So number 1 through 6 for the first answer. The devil promised me blank.
3.
3. All right. So 1, 2, 3. So there's that one. So the devil promised me testicular torsion, but all I got was blank. Are you good with testicular torsion for the first part?
Sure.
All right. So what's the next number you want to choose? 3 is now
4.
out.
4.
All right. So in return for my soul, the devil promised me testicular torsion, but all I got was Magic: The Gathering. So, does that work for you, or do you want to switch Magic: The Gathering for something else?
Switch it. Go for 5.
5. All right. So here's 5. So in return for my soul, the devil promised me testicular torsion, but all I got was all you could eat shrimp for $4.99.
Yeah, that's much better.
Then we have one more, and then that will be it for our Ode to Humanity segment.
All right.
Got it, man?
Whoops. Hold on. Yeah, I've been drinking a little bit. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys.
All right. So round 3. Last one is this month's Cosmo. Spice up your sex life by bringing blank into the bedroom. You have what? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices?
Okay, let me go number 5.
All right. Your answer is a concerning amount of white people.
I Tommy left.
So spice up your sex life by bringing a concerning amount of white people into the bedroom.
Are you good with that, or do you want to rebuttal that?
No, let's try. Let's go to one.
Let's go one. All right. that was one right there. Yeah.
So number one was blowjobs for everyone. So spice up your sex life by bringing blowjobs for everyone into the bedroom.
Okay.
As long as I'm not giving. Yeah.
There you go.
That's fine for Cosmo, but when I bring it to the potluck dinner for the PGA meeting,
It's pretty good with the answer. You got giant sperm from outer space, a horse with no legs. I don't know, 50-50. I'm there. I'm there with you.
I think you chose well. There's a good
Nipple blades sounds pretty interesting though.
Yeah.
That sounds like something out of Hellraiser. Like you sit there, and of course, Hellraiser has the one character, Deep Throat, which has the hole in her throat. Of course, we had Doug Bradley on the show before, and he said that, they didn't really say it much in Hellraiser, but her name was Deep Throat because she had a hole in her throat. You have Deep Throat and someone with nipple blades just going at it in like a Hellraiser movie. Like what like horror scenes? Of course, we had Sadie Katz on recently, and she's done all kinds of nudity.
Oh, you had her on?
Yeah, and we had her on the show herself, and we talked about a lot of her nude scenes. And what do you think horror movie wise? What do you think right off the top of your head? Some of your
I love Halloween with PJ Souls. I mean, that's like that's one of my favorites. If you don't mind the phone cord wrapped around her neck at the end of it, it's a very
it but actually do it for me.
Like Susan Sarandon and Catherine Deneuve in The Hunger, Nastasia Kinski and Cat People. I mean, those are legendary. Like I always say, and we always around Halloween do all these lists at our website because, like, horror movies and nudity, like peanut butter and jelly, right? I mean, think of all the Friday the 13th movies, all the girls going skinny dipping and all that. It's just like they're not always super famous, but they're super great scenes in horror movies.
Oh yeah, one of them was it was actually the most recent Friday the 13th, the remake, Willa Ford.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Like I was super excited for that. I was like, oh yeah,
or Life Force, the main character in Life Force.
Oh, Matilda May. Yeah, she's that's where she was nude the whole movie. But yeah, I think we joked, have you driven a Ford lately with Willa Ford? She's awesome.
Well, Danielle Harris, she was another one. Like Danielle Harris was
she was right. She was right. Yeah. God, your horror movie women.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, my arms are pretty much all kinds of like.
She was a child actress too, but then she was in the Halloween, like way back, the one in like the mid 2000s,
Yeah, she was in Halloween when she was super young, which she was about the same age I was at that period of time. And then she did Rob Zombie's Halloween, and that's when she got naked in that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's awesome. But she also, it's crazy because she did like a couple of videos for Five Finger Death Punch and various other stuff, and her Instagram is amazing too. And it's just kind of like, oh well, okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, horror is almost, someone does horror, like it's crazy how many people forget that actually in horror, how many big name stars start out in that, whether it's male or female. Like Kevin Bacon started off, just so many different people that started off in horror, and then some of them agree, hey, I'll do nudity, and then they look back and they're like, I probably shouldn't have did.
I should.
Well, yeah, I mean that could happen, but yeah, you're right, because a lot of horror movies are low budget, and they get the actors or actresses that probably aren't too famous when they get in. A lot of those actresses, if you remember from the Halloweens or Friday the 13th or any of those movies from that era, the girls that did the nudity, they weren't household names. Like you couldn't probably even think of any of them,
Yeah. But when they did them though, they were so good. Like the remake, the one girl who got the revised campfire death, amazing scene, amazing body, amazing.
And it's but my point is to like the audience, those like scenes we remember, but they just aren't famous people, and that's fine. The movie's famous. There's the fame is the movie, the actress doesn't, because really a big name actress is not going to do, to be like killed while you're having, and they'd always make like in horror movies, especially in the 80s, you knew a girl was going to die when she had sex because sex is bad,
Yeah. That's a rule in horror.
That's a scream rule. Like in Scream, they lay it out. No sex.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, and I'm not sure if you know right off the top of your head or not, but most people know her for American Pie. But I remember Shannon Elizabeth did the Psycho remake. Was she naked in the Psycho remake when she did the shower scene in Psycho?
That was Anne Heche was in Psycho.
Was it that? Okay. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was Shannon Elizabeth in that for some reason.
Well, she did Shannon Elizabeth did a movie called Dish Dogs that I don't think that would be considered that definitely wasn't a horror movie, but it was like something other than American Pie for someone to check out. But she did you might be thinking of this movie she did, and I want to say they released it after she became famous. She did it before Friday the 13th, or she did it before American Pie, called Jack Frost.
Oh, yeah.
She had a shower.
Yes. And that's where he pulled the carrot nose off. And the carrot
yes.
The carrot dick.
What was interesting, I'm pretty sure that they couldn't get that. I could be wrong, but it was one of those things where it was made a couple years before she became famous, and then it got released because she was famous. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think it actually, what's funny is with that Jack Frost movie, I think that came out the same year the Disney Jack Frost came out.
Yeah, with Michael Keaton.
With Michael Keaton, because I remember when I was younger, I was looking for that Jack Frost. And I came across that Jack Frost, and I was like, I like this one a lot better.
It changed
In my head, those two movies just overlap. And when you were like Jack Frost, immediately the Michael Keaton character popped up, and I was like, I don't remember a nude scene.
Right.
I don't remember Michael Keaton as a snowman attacking a woman in the shower.
Right. It is a funny nude scene, and it's supposed to be horror, but it's so ridiculous. But you were Jack off during the Jack Frost at the 57-minute mark of that movie, right?
That sounds like a porn parody. Jack off, Jack Frost. That's the porn parody of it. So that means the next adult film star we have on, we're going to be like, look, we have an idea. We need you to do a porn parody of Jack Frost, and it's called Jack Off Jack Frost.
Yeah, where it's a magic carrot, but they put it in a place you wouldn't suspect.
And one thing that always bothered me, now that we're on horror and horror nudity, is that Selma Hayek did not get nude.
I know what you're gonna say.
And that, she's in a strip club and she's the main stripper. However, she has had some good nude scenes, but she never got nude in From Dusk Till Dawn. And I don't think I can ever forget.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, her up on that stage, even though she wasn't nude, is better than most actresses' nude scenes.
Yeah, without question. And she's one of those ones that no matter what age, like now, Selma Hayek looks just as good now as she did then. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I agree. She's ridiculous. She just, I don't know if it was on her Instagram, but last week she posted something, and she's got to be 50, 55, maybe somewhere in that range. She still looks like she's in her 30s.
Yeah. And is there anybody right offhand, and of course you said who your favorite was, but is there anybody more so, as you were doing the website and all that did a nude scene that you're like, oh man, that's cool, like that's awesome, like I didn't think they would ever do nude, you were just kind of like, oh man, I'm so glad they just did.
Well, like one actress that when I remember when I remember when I was starting this is that Molly Ringwald was one, because I was doing my database when I launched had 1,000 actresses. Now we have like 35,000 actresses, but I remember being surprised that Molly Ringwald would be nude. Like, I don't think people would think of her as, she did a movie in 1995 called Malicious. At the 15-minute mark, she was topless, and she looked great. Like, I think you'd be surprised at how good she looked nude. But that's an example of someone you wouldn't have thought to do a nude scene.
Well, with me,
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
As far as I don't want to get into the legalization of things, but have you ever had a celebrity like, hey, take my shit down because I don't like people
I was gonna ask that.
looking at my shit?
Well, have we in our history? Yes. But I've been doing this 22 years, and we're really, in a sense, the actors and the actresses in this case, it's the studios that own the
right
content, and we're kind of reviewing the nudity, and and listen, I've been doing this long. I went to attorneys before I started this, so I made sure that we do it legally. And the fact that I'm here, not flying under the radar at all, I hope proves. But again, I think, you got to remember, like, I never got into like paparazzi pics where someone would like hide in a tree and take a picture of someone in their house, or when they, we only review and talk about nude scenes from movies and televisions where actresses willingly appear. I never got into the whole paparazzi thing. Stolen tapes from your phone. We never did that stuff.
Well, kind of like what was it? The fappening.
The fappening.
When the fappening happened, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, all these like videos and images of J-Law with like a cock in her mouth, and you're just kind of like, wait a minute, what? No,
right? Yeah. No, that's against like our thing was always it had to be something you willingly appear, then you were over 18 years old. Like, it's just, listen, if you want to have a business that has staying power, you got to do it the right way. And we've done it, so there's a reason we've been here for 22 years.
And of course, man, like, as I said, since 99, like, really, thank you. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, as I said, we hear you
doing the Lord's work is what you're saying.
The Lord's work.
We all
wait till I tell my mom I met Mr.Skin.
Probably better to tell your dad.
Yeah. we all collectively have friends over at 98 Rock, and we hear you very often on 98 Rock Baltimore.
Yeah, I've been on their show for 20 some years too. So
so
good guys.
I mean, man, thank you, honestly, for everything that you do, because I know damn well if I'm watching a movie and my wife's sitting there like, oh man, this movie's great, I'm on my phone like, it's this person's tits online.
Yeah, I'm just Facebooking, honey.
Right. Yeah. We're all men. We're all guilty of it. We're just like, wonder what she looks like naked.
Yeah.
Hold on, where to go?
Here's one, and I never bothered to look it up. But Gal Gadot, does Gal Gadot have any?
Yeah, no, she, and he's talking about the girl that plays Wonder Woman.
Yes, yes.
And she never's been nude. Well, let me put it to you this way. She's never done a nude scene in a movie or television show. She did a fragrance ad for Gucci about 6-7 years ago where she's nude playing the piano.
Yeah.
And it's you could only see like a quarter of her butt crack, but we decided that was nudity at our site. And you might want to check it out. We have that. But she was in one of those Fast and Furious movies in a bikini, and it was like, holy jeez, that's like, yeah. But I don't think now with the success of the Wonder Woman franchise, we're going to see a Gal Gadot nude scene, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking now, since she's Wonder Woman,
her and Superman got to get it on.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I feel like it's harder now. Like for example,
a three-way.
Like Ashley, like Elizabeth Olsen. It's hard for her now because she's Wanda from
WandaVision,
Witch. So it makes it a lot harder. So, it's like beforehand, before you get like a major deal with one of those superhero type flicks, it's a lot easier. But now it's like you're kind of under like a microscope,
right? Well,
with a lot of shit once you're associated with that.
It's like he was saying about like Game of Thrones. I think there's like a certain amount of nude scenes. I don't know if that's true. I have no idea. The HBO was like, you have to do like certain amount of nude scenes and through your contract, and they have to sign off on it. So
I think every show's different. I don't think there's a formula across the board, but let's just put it this way. I always say, if you have a show that is really well written and well acted with incredible cinematography like Game of Thrones, you'd watch it without nudity. But when it has nudity, that is how it becomes that's how it becomes a blockbuster show,
Well, one of mine actually is what is it? Melissa McBride, Carol from The Walking Dead. Like, I'm just kind of like, if there's anything out there for that, and not Carol when like she was younger. Like, I want like short haired, like gray haired Carol like baking cookies for me in The Walking Dead. Carol,
you got mommy issues. It's okay.
That's actually a good point. The cast of Golden Girls. I heard that there were nude scenes of Betty
Jesus
White.
Christ.
I say what Tommy says.
No, I actually have, and I could send Ray some pics, but Betty White in the 50s was a model.
Yes,
topless model. She's on some decks of playing cards. I have those in my personal collection, so I can send those over to you.
Now
it's bringing that up. What kind of, and if you don't mind, diving into it a little bit, what kind of things do you have in your personal collection? Because of course, you said how you started off. You said how you used to record the stuff. Like what is it like? Is there anything that's kind of cherished to you, like the Holy Grail? Like,
what are your kids going to inherit?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have like I've had people send me send me stuff because they just know like I'm Mr. Skin and I'd be interested in it. So I have some cool stuff, but for me, my favorite things are things that are really hard to find for the website, like Marsha from the Brady Bunch, this rare movie she was in 1980, we have at the website that I was able to track down. It's only been released on video, called Texas Lightning. That to me is like fun. Like that kind of stuff is what I really love. There was a Victoria Principal. Do you guys remember who she was from Dallas? Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Yeah. She did a movie that was never released called The Naked Ape, which we were able to track down a copy for the website. And I just love that. Like, to me, that's my passion, is finding that kind of stuff. And, but what's in my personal collection, I'll send you the Betty White pictures.
Nice. Yeah. Jim's like, look,
those are some real nostalgic tits right there.
Yeah. He's like the current images of Queen Elizabeth. I'm not sending those to anybody. That's not happening.
Those are mine.
The current day Queen Elizabeth, those are mine.
They'll get leaked if she doesn't make him Sir Skin.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And Jim, what we're going to do is, of course, we know we're starting to run short on time. For anybody watching at home right here on YouTube, or for anybody listening on every major podcast platform, if they're being introduced to Mr. Skin for the first time, where can they find you? Where can they find all of your content, and what all do you have coming up?
Yeah, it's just go to Mr.Skin.com. Super simple, MRSKIN.com. Like I said, we've been around 22 years. On Monday, we're launching the top 10 nude scenes of 2021, which I'm excited about. That if you think about it, with all the nudity that happens in movies and television in a year, you can imagine what the top 10 is going to be, or how good it's going to be. So I'm excited. I'll be promoting that starting on Monday, and it'll be right on the front page of MrSkin.com.
Awesome. And Jim, what we're going to do real quick is for everybody watching live, they'll be able to see this, and everybody on YouTube will be able to see it real quick. We normally put these into our audio version every commercial break. If you could just real quick for us, be like, this is Mr. Skin and this is the Happy Hour podcast, that'd be great.
Yeah. All right. You mean like a little plug?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Mr. Skin, and when I'm not watching nude scenes, I'm watching the Happy Hour podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, man. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and end our YouTube version of this. So everybody, thank you for tuning in live. Of course, we are going to be live next week, once again, right here on YouTube Live. And, make sure you go over to www.thehhpod.com for all the information. We're going to be live right here on YouTube. Of course, thank you for Tommy. Thank you to Mr. Skin. We're going to go ahead and wrap up, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, cool. So we're no longer on YouTube Live. Jim, thank you.